You know, it's pretty wild to think that the very thing you might use to help you doze off, say a glass of wine, is actually setting a tiny bomb off in the middle of your night, shattering your rest and leaving you totally exhausted the next day. Welcome to Sleepedia, a little corner of the internet dedicated to the science of sleep and circadian rhythms. So let's just get right to it and tackle that age-old question. Does that nightcap actually help you sleep? I mean, it's a belief so many of us have, right? But today, we're going to put it under the scientific microscope and see what's really going on. The thing is, alcohol's effect on our sleep is, well, it's a classic bait and switch. It kind of lures you in with this promise of drifting off super fast, but the price you end up paying later in the night is pretty steep. Let's just call it what it is. The nightcap deception. Okay, so check this out. This slide shows you the two faces of alcohol perfectly. In the first half of the night, yeah, it acts like a sedative. You fall asleep faster, and you even get a little more of that deep, slow wave sleep. Sounds amazing, right? But, and this is a huge but, once we hit the second half of the night, your body starts to process the alcohol, and that triggers this massive rebound effect. Your sleep gets all choppy and fragmented, you start waking up more, and you get robbed of your crucial REM sleep. And REM is what you need for memory, for processing emotions. You know, the important stuff. And look, this isn't just about one bad night's sleep. What we're really talking about is this destructive dance between alcohol, poor sleep, and our internal body clocks. It creates this vicious cycle that can be incredibly tough to get out of. And to really get it, we first need to chat about our body's internal timing system. So to understand this whole cycle, we have to talk about circadian rhythms. I know, it sounds kind of sciencey, but think of them like this. You have thousands of tiny little clocks all over your body, and they're all synchronized by one master clock up in your brain. They run on a 24-hour schedule, and they manage pretty much everything, telling you when to feel sleepy, when to feel awake, and even when to release certain hormones. They're basically the conductors of your body's entire orchestra. And here is that vicious cycle in action. You see the arrows? Alcohol use leads directly to poor sleep. That poor sleep then throws your circadian rhythms, your body clocks, completely out of whack. And here's the kicker. That circadian disruption, it actually makes you want to drink again, a lot of times just to cope with the fatigue and anxiety it created in the first place. Each part just fuels the next, spinning this whole thing faster and faster. And what's so crucial to understand is that this is a total two-way street. It's not just that alcohol messes up your sleep. The research is super clear. If you already have sleep issues, you're actually more vulnerable to problem drinking. We see it with people who are night owls, you know? Their clocks are just naturally wired to stay up later. They're more likely to binge drink. The link is so strong that sleep problems in childhood can actually predict alcohol issues years down the road when they're teenagers. It's wild. So how in the world does alcohol actually break these internal clocks? Well, the damage isn't just skin deep. It goes right down into our biology. We're talking about the fundamental machinery that keeps our bodies running on a schedule. Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating. Your body's timing system is run by a team of what we call clock genes with names like PER2. Just think of them as the managers telling every organ when it's time to work and when it's time to rest. Well, alcohol comes in and directly interferes with these genes, basically muffling their rhythm. This completely desynchronizes your whole body. It's like your liver is suddenly on one time zone and your brain is on a totally different one. And the fallout from all this internal chaos is, well, it's huge. It's not just about feeling tired. Your body starts pumping out the sleep hormone melatonin and the stress hormone cortisol at completely the wrong times of day. Your core body temperature, which is supposed to drop for sleep, gets all messed up. This internal confusion makes it harder to process your emotions. And this is a big one. For anyone with alcohol use disorder, it dramatically increases the risk of relapse. Okay, so that was a lot of the bad news. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. You have so much power to break free from this cycle. And this isn't about just gritting your teeth and using willpower. It's about using smart, science-backed strategies to get your body's natural rhythm back on track. So let's look at an action plan. Here's a simple, but believe me, incredibly powerful 3-step plan you can literally start tonight. Number 1, set a fixed wake-up time. Yes, even on the weekends. This is the single strongest signal you can send to your master clock. 2, get some morning sunlight. Just step outside or sit by a bright window right after you wake up. This is like the anchor for your entire 24-hour day. And 3, create a wind-down routine. For 30 minutes before bed, dim the lights, put the screens away, and just do something relaxing. Now, for anyone who needs a little more backup, there are other really powerful, proven tools out there. Good sleep hygiene, for example, builds on that wind-down routine to create really strong sleep cues for your brain. For more stubborn issues, there's CBT-I, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, which is the absolute gold standard. It's a drug-free therapy that helps you change your thoughts and behaviors around sleep. And then there are things like light therapy, which a specialist can use to powerfully reset a really disrupted clock. And what about the alcohol itself? Okay, if you are going to drink, here is the most practical rule of thumb you can follow. Create a buffer zone. Just aim to stop drinking at least 4 to 6 hours before you plan to go to bed. That gives your body enough time to metabolize most of the alcohol before you hit those really critical restorative stages of sleep later in the night. So we've seen how alcohol's promise of a quick trip to dreamland is really just a deception that throws our whole internal timing system into total chaos. But we've also seen that we have the tools to fight back and to get our bodies back in sync. I want to share this quote from the research because it hits the nail on the head. Treating sleep and circadian rhythms is not an optional add-on. It's a core part of reducing risk and improving recovery. What that means is that taking care of your sleep and your body clock isn't just some nice-to-have wellness tip. It is absolutely fundamental to your health and your well-being.